Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the poetry collection, The Shades of Missing You by Vironika Tugaleva. This poetry collection means so much to me personally on several different layers, so it's going to be hard to form fully fleshed out complete thoughts about how much this collection means to me. The poetry that speaks to me the most and I enjoy the most and I recommend the most is something that I picked up exactly when I needed it, like Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppermill. I picked that up and read it at the exact moment in my life when I needed something like that. And this just happens to be another one of those poetry collections that came into my life at exactly the moment that I needed it, and I had no idea I needed it until I read it, and then I was like, wow, the timing of that is beyond insane. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this poetry collection, a little bit about the poet herself. So the poet did reach out to me and ask if I wanted a copy. I graciously accepted, and I'm so glad I did because it's probably my new favorite. Vironika Tugaleva, the poet, was born in the Ukraine, but at 8 years old, she moved with her family to Canada, Toronto, and from there, she just struggled to like fit in and things like that, and her mental health really suffered. So in her early 20s is when she hit her rock bottom, and it took a few years, but she kind of had this like spiritual awakening, and those experiences inspired her first book that she wrote, which is The Love Mindset. From there, she set out to write her second book, and her second book was going to be like a self-help book, kind of like, again, from her life experiences and stuff like that. But it turned more into a book that challenged current self-help practices and encouraged people to trust themselves, build self-awareness, discover their own answers. And that book is called The Art of Talking to Yourself. And then from there, in late 2019, she released The Shades of Missing You, which chronicles the journey of healing the loss of her first lover 12 years after the end of the relationship. I'm going to have the poet's website linked in the description box of this video, where you can basically read about her other books and all of the stuff that I just basically summed up for you. I kind of like wrote some notes and stuff like that, but I think that's important to know about her. And now she lives this like nomadic lifestyle. She travels around, and you can see her doing stand-up poetry and stuff like that, and just her presence is like heartwarming, but it's also like real, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's one of those people that she's gonna give it to you straight. I feel like I saw a couple of her performances like from her website. She also has a YouTube channel. She's not like very current on YouTube or anything, but she does have a YouTube channel, so you can see some stuff there. But I just feel like she really gives it to you, and she really like puts it out there. Okay, so what do I love specifically about this? When I hauled this in my December book haul, I read the back, like a little brief thing from the introduction, but to really explain to you what this collection is, it's really in the introduction. So I'm gonna like briefly read a couple of things from the introduction here. So for years, Vironika started dreaming of her first love, and she would wake up from that dream, like where she would see his smile, he would forgive her, they would be friends and stuff, and then she would wake up and she'd be like, man, that stink. Like, she'd miss him, she wanted closure, and over time she's like, oh, with time these dreams are gonna go away, not a big deal. But they persisted for 12 years, and it started out like slow, and they got more intense as time went on. And she knew that she needed an outlet. She knew she needed closure, like some type of way. So she started, after 12 years of having these dreams, that, or sometime during the 12 years of having these dreams, that when she woke up from one of these dreams, she was going to write, like, basically her thoughts out and turn it into this art. And this is the result. So it says, I figured the dreams would fade over time, but almost 12 years later, they became stronger. Instead of friendship and forgiveness, the dreams filled with passion. I would wake up yearning for the magnets that had pulsed so powerfully within me all those years ago. That desire would mix with guilt when I'd roll over and see my partner at the time sleeping next to me. So she decided to write a poem every time that she missed him, and she didn't expect it like to turn into much or to it have as big of an impact on her as it did. So as a result of her doing this, like, a couple of things happened. First, she started missing another person. It was a former best friend, like a girlfriend of hers. They don't speak anymore, but some of the poems in this collection are about her. And secondly, what happened as a result of her writing these poems was she started to have new thoughts and new emotions, and that was surprising to her. So then she had a bunch of these poems that really kind of like freed her from these dreams that she was having and these thoughts and this like need for closure. And she got her fire back. And so then she said, these poems don't really stand on their own. And so she wanted to publish them separately, but she didn't think it was like enough. So then she tried to make old journal entries into poems, and that didn't work. Then she went through old notebooks from 12 years ago. She found anger, self-pity, and confusion. And when she tried to weave poems out of them, that didn't work. And then she found one poem from 7 to 8 years ago that she wanted to share. The first poem in this, Sometimes, which she originally wrote as a song, and she recorded herself singing it over her acoustic guitar and emailed it to the guy. She never got a reply, but the apology in it is still real. So she definitely tried to make Shades of Missing You something that you can definitely tell that like it's so great that she didn't end up being successful with. So she said everything she tried to do, like make it a chapter book, or make it into a chapter in a longer book, etc., it just felt wrong. So she went with her gut instinct after trying to make it something that it wasn't, and solely kept it about these are the things that she wrote when she woke up from these dreams. And it's so strong because she went down that path, and that's exactly what she did. Like, she'd wake up, she had these feelings, she'd write a poem when she was missing him, and that's what this collection is. So I'm gonna say that like literally everything in here is my absolute favorite. There's no standout to me as like, oh, I like this one more than this one, because I feel like it tells a complete story. It explores like the burden of missing a past lover, the longing for what was, so desire, loss, self-love, and forgiveness. It really shows like an arc of her, the initial longing, magnetism, feelings, and like need for closure. And then it moves more into like it starts really like rock bottom, like these are my feelings. And then they kind of get lighter where she moves on to longing and then self-love, like finding her love within herself, and then kind of like forgiveness. The two things before I share like some of the things out of here, because I always try to do that in poetry collections. Okay, so I want to like point out, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What I will say is, while I do like the cover, this poetry collection is so strong and it's so niche. Like usually like poems can be all over the place. Like take Langley, for example. Other like modern poets out there. Their poems can be all over the place. They take like a broad topic like love, and they talk about like friendship love and family love and like relationship love, and they just cover all of the things. Or, you know, you have RH Sin that has this like whole gardening kind of like collections that he's doing, and it kind of all deals with like building up and being worth it and things like that. This is such a niche. It's taking a very small, very controlled, very like relatable thing, the longing, the missing, the desire for that first love, and writing only about that. So I really absolutely love that about it. So while the cover is great, I feel like it needed a better cover to draw you in, because I know some covers really pull people into poetry collections, and I don't think this, I love the black and white. I think that was a good choice. I just wish it was a better cover for some reason. I don't know what could have made it better, because I really do like the woman here on the front embracing this shade. But I don't know. I think it could have been better, because it's a little mixy up here. It looks a little kind of like dirty, you know? Okay. So a cleaner presentation would have been nice. I also think the inside, it's like this newsprint, and I just think like a higher quality, nicer paper, glossy pages, not a super fan of, but like a higher quality other than these like newsprint pages would have been really nice for this collection. Of course, the poet doesn't have like too much say in that type of thing. And I know it's like a money thing, so like I completely understand. But if this gained like a lot of popularity and they like redid a nice black and white cover and had like really nice paper, like a collector's edition, I would totally get it. So I definitely want you to check this out. Spread the word. Everybody buy this, so they'll make a collector's edition of it, and it'll be really nice. Also, I thought, remember that typewriter series of poetry that I read? That would have been really cool for this, other than just like regular, you know, typed out stuff. I think if they went with like a typewriter font or, you know, something like that, that would have been really cool. This one included black and white photography. It's, you know, black and white. It's that newsprint like I was telling you. So while the photography was interesting, a lot of it was kind of like these ink things or like smoke things. See, here's some, I'll show you a couple. These type of thing, like this like dust and thing. Like, while like, okay, everybody can relate to this, it's so Tumblr, it's so Instagram, and then there's this one. While these are like, okay, you know, pictures, there's this one, this random dog standing on this, and then the match in the back of the girl, like, it didn't fit the poetry collection, and you guys know that that's like a pet peeve of mine. Again, I think it was like poet and like a friend trying to come together to like create art together. I get that, but I think it would have been better, and take note for the collector's edition, white cover, striking graphic, better font choice. I like this part, like how her name is and stuff. Like maybe even how she signs her name. How she signs her name right here would be really cool on the front. But really nice, like high quality paper inside, typed out with that typewriter font. Oh, dying for it. No photography, because I think that if you concentrate on the photography, it has nothing to do with the story, and it just takes you out of the space that you need to be in when you're consuming poetry like this. So that's the presentation is overall lacking. I'll say that. Like, I do love it for what it is. I'm happy I have it in my possession, and if there's no collector's edition ever and ever, I'm okay with that, because I love this so much. Like, I'll have this forever. But I just think it could have been like better, and more people would be drawn to it. But as far as like what's inside the words itself, A+, outstanding, wonderful. Okay, so now let's get into some stuff. I guess I'll just do it like at random. Okay, the gift. So I'm gonna read this one. I found your words in my mouth today, not the ones you hurled at my wings at the very end, fearing my escape, but the ones you poured on my roots at the very start, loving my bloom. You are so special. You are so beautiful. People have treated you badly in the past. I will do better. I will treat you better. When you left, I thought you took those words with you. Today, I found them in these seeds, in these fruits of depth and distance, time and tears. Thank you. All right, let's do another random one. Okay, there's two. I'll read both of these. Okay, the first one is Old Spice. One smell, one word, one memory, and I fall homesick for that place I thought I held in your heart. Maybe I never did. Maybe it wasn't real, but I miss it anyway. Maybe I never knew you, but I miss you anyway. And then No One Else is your hand on my thigh, your breath on my neck, your voice saying, God, you are so warm, I can feel it. You groan like you're in pain. You say no one else has ever made you feel this way. I wake up sweating, whispering, or you? Has anyone else made you feel this way? So if you have a first love that you're like no longer with and you kind of like yearn for those feelings, that person, if you can relate any way to this, I think you'll really like it. I definitely think she's a modern poet that we need to keep our eyes on. I hope she's working on some other stuff, but I know she has written like a couple of books. She's written her first or she has compiled her first poetry collection. So I'm definitely looking for more from this poet. Yeah, I love it so much. But I know it was rambly. I know I had a lot of thoughts, but I just needed to share with you guys. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're all having a lovely day. You run out and pick yourself up a copy. I'll see you guys again in another video soon. Bye!